You ever have one of those moments where you look at someone and think, are we even living on the same planet? That's exactly how I felt the day Karen Morrison tried to steal my late mother's lake cabin right out from under me. And let me tell you, it was bold enough to make your jaw hit the floor. But here's the kicker. Karen had no idea I'd spent 15 years as a real estate attorney, so she picked the wrong grieving son to mess with in the story I'm about to tell. Yeah, it gets real. 6 months back, I lost my mom to cancer. Her name was Eleanor. She was my anchor, tough as nails, but always fair. She left me this old cabin up in the Adirondacks, a little slice of heaven on 2 acres right on Pine Lake. This was her sanctuary screened porch garden full of wildflowers, kitchen she'd updated herself with the money she got after my dad passed. I grew up there summer after summer, and when she died, her only rule was clear as day. Keep the peace, but don't let anybody take advantage of your kindness. Honestly, I figured that was just Mom being Mom. Turns out she saw something coming I never would have guessed, because 2 cabins down there's this glass and steel monstrosity, a modern trophy home that looks like it crash-landed in a Norman Rockwell painting. Karen Morrison and her husband Richard bought it 5 years ago. The first week they moved in, Karen started acting like she owned the whole lake. She'd corner my mom about the unsightly dock, outdated cabin, and those trees that, oh, the horror messed with her panoramic view. My mom always brushed her off, but I'll admit I underestimated just how deep Karen's entitlement ran. Fast forward to October. I'm at the cabin sorting through boxes, drinking my coffee on the porch, already feeling wrung out with grief. Who comes strutting up the path in her athleisure and $400 sneakers, Karen? Doesn't say hi, doesn't even fake an "I'm sorry for your loss." She just launches into, "We need to discuss the situation now that Eleanor is gone." My hackles were up instantly. I ask, "What situation, Karen?" She pulls out her phone, clearly rehearsed, and goes, "Richard and I have basically been the stewards of this whole side of the lake. We've kept up the standards around here, covered for your mother's decline, and well, we'd like to buy your property for a very generous price. Save you all the trouble." Now, I know how these games work. She was framing it like she was doing me a favor when really she wanted the property for pennies on the dollar. I shot her down cold. "Not for sale, Karen." You could see the crack in her veneer. She goes on about how I live in the city. I'm too busy. The cabin needs someone who understands lakefront management. I told her straight, my mom left specific instructions and selling wasn't one of them. That's when her face changed. There's this special tone entitled "Folks Get When No Doesn't Compute." David, be reasonable. Absentee owners bring down the character around here. I stood up, gave her a look I reserve for hostile witnesses. The property's staying in my family. End of story. She stalks off, promising that the neighbors are concerned and we're not going away. Right then, I knew she'd just declared war. What Karen didn't realize was that I'm not the kind of guy who folds under pressure. If anything, it made me dig in harder. Within a week, the complaints started rolling in: dock encroachment reports, calls to the county about the septic noise violations when I wasn't even there. Nothing stuck, but each one wasted my time and cost me a little more peace. Then came her masterstroke, a petition signed by 3 other neighbors demanding a town investigation into commercial use because I let a few friends stay at the cabin now and then. Suddenly, Karen's campaign felt a lot less personal and a lot more strategic. Here's the twist. I started wondering what she was really after. Why this property and why now? So I did what I do best, dug into the records. Turns out Karen and Richard had bought their place with a mountain of debt and had just maxed out a new line of credit. Their waterfront actually had a strip of protected wetlands that blocked any big dock or boathouse, but my mother's lot deepest access on the whole stretch. If Karen wanted her dream boat launch and patio, she needed my property badly. I talked to the longtime locals. Mrs. Patterson, she's lived there 40 years, told me Karen had been spreading rumors that my mom was losing her mind, couldn't keep up the property. Tom Rodriguez said Karen floated a plan to buy out all the old cabins, replace them with shiny new ones. But the clincher came from Janet, the town clerk. Karen had been asking how long a place had to sit empty before it could be claimed as abandoned. This wasn't just Karen being a nuisance. She was angling to get the law on her side. Now here's where it gets fun. My mom's old real estate agent, Patricia, invites me over. She drops this bombshell: when the lake was developed, the only legal access point for half a dozen lots was through our property, a quirk in the original platting. Patricia shows me the old maps, the deed language, everything. The owner of our lot has the right to set rules for the easement. Karen's whole dream dock fantasy, it lived and died by my say-so. Armed with all this, I get the deeds, hire a surveyor, call my contacts at the state environmental office. The survey revealed Karen had already built a fence and landscaping straight into the easement zone. Big mistake. State filings showed she and Richard had tried twice to get permits for a megadock and boathouse, only to get shot down because of the wetlands. Her latest attempt banked on access through my land. So I call Karen up. We need to meet. She shows up with Richard, both looking like they're about to sign closing papers on the deal of the century. I lay out the documents, easement maps, survey permit denials. Your property's water access is contingent on my easement, and I've decided to regulate usage moving forward. No commercial construction, no development. You'll have normal homeowner rights, and that's it. Richard, to his credit, gets it immediately. Karen's face, meanwhile, goes red, then white. She sputters. "You can't do that," I tell her. "Actually, I can. And the environmental covenants from the original subdivision back me up. I'm just enforcing the rules you ignored." Then, just for good measure, I pull out a formal complaint ready to go to the real estate board because Karen's been pitching herself as a property consultant advising other neighbors without a license. That's a violation in our state. Karen looks like she might faint. Richard looks like he's doing the math on how badly this is about to hurt their investment. I give them options. Withdraw every complaint. Apologize to the neighbors for slandering my mother. Drop the development plans, or I file. Tighten the easement even more and start legal proceedings for harassment and defamation. Richard blinks first. "We'll need some time to consider this." I just nod. Easement rules take effect immediately. Next morning, there's a handwritten apology in my mailbox from Karen. Could practically see the teeth marks on the pen, but she did it. Janet at the town clerk's office calls to say Karen personally withdrew all her complaints. And 2 weeks later, Richard's lawyer formally abandons their development plans and asks about minimal improvements they can make. I set reasonable guidelines: no monster docks, no party patios, just normal neighbor stuff. The old-timers around the lake are quietly relieved. Life settled down. Karen never apologized face to face. Her pride wouldn't allow that, but the harassment stopped. Richard turned out to be halfway decent once he wasn't wrapped up in his wife's schemes. He even helped me fix the dock that winter. The cabin's still in our family. I set up a trust so no one can touch it, and any improvements have to respect the environment and the spirit my mom cherished. And you know what? Karen's little crusade did me a favor. It made me dig into the property's history, realize just how much my mom had protected that slice of lakefront. Not just for us, but for everyone who loves Pine Lake's peace and quiet. Sometimes the best way to honor someone's memory is to defend what they built kindly but fiercely. So what did I learn? First, bullies pick on people they think are weak, grief, age, whatever, but most of the time they haven't done their homework. Second, folks who are used to manipulating others don't know what to do when someone stands up with facts, not just emotion. And last, sometimes keeping the peace means you have to fight for it. My mother's last lesson to me wasn't just about kindness. It was about never letting anybody take advantage of it. Today, the lake is just as she loved it. Karen, well, she minds her business now. Maybe she found another project that doesn't involve steamrolling neighbors. But every time I sit on that porch and watch the mist roll off the water, I remember what Mom said: keep the peace, but stand your ground. So here's my question for you. Have you ever had to fight back to protect? What's yours? Drop your stories in the comments. I want to hear how you stood your ground. And if you ever find yourself facing a bully like Karen, remember kindness is strength, but the law is a shield if you know how to use it.